Hello there everybody. If you remember last week I gave you a recipe for macaroni cheese. Today we're going to have a real treat because we're actually going to cook and make some cheese straws, and I'm going to make them to show you what we can do, and at the end we'll put the recipe on. Just to let you know, I have Mrs. Still with me, so she's in with me giving me a hand, so it's going to be a really good session. First, the most important thing I've got to do is I've got to wash my hands. Now, those that have cooked with us before know why I have to wash my hands, because we don't want any germs, do we, when we're cooking? So, let's just dry them off. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get our pastry. So, we'll take our one block of pastry out of the packet. We also will need flour, grated cheese, a cheese grater, which I'm just showing you the cheese grater because we've already done this up front, knives and a rolling pin. So first of all, what we are going to do is I am going to flour our board. The reason we flour the board is because pastry can stick, which we don't want that to do. So then I'm going to start rolling it out. It can be tricky because it can be quite hard. I would say take your pastry out early enough and then it will be nice and soft for you to roll. We've got to get it and roll it out quite thin, because if it's too thick, they won't be very nice. There we go.
And you can see Mrs. Knight's got greaseproof paper on the table, and the reason we do that is it just makes less mess when you've got to clean up, and we like any little trick that makes it less messy for our cleaning up.
So, what I'm doing is then I'll pick my pastry up, make sure it's floured. If you need a little bit more flour, just sprinkle it over, and it will keep it from sticking to the rolling pin. Right, this takes a little bit of time, so we just want to make sure that we get it done really well. Let's pull my greaseproof paper again. Can tend to slip a little bit, but at home I expect you've got lots of lovely things that you can use for your cooking. Right, over we go. Right. Okay. Now you've got to get it as thin as you can. It can't be too thick. Okay? Right. There we are. Stop now. Okay? There we go. Right. Now the next thing that we are going to do is, when I've rolled it out, I'm going to take some of our grated cheese, and I can do this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle it all over the pastry. Now the reason I'm doing this is because what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold the pastry back up like this, and I'm going to roll it out again. And the reason I'm doing that is because we want to get all of the cheese through the pastry, so it's really cheesy and delicious. Okay. Right, now our next thing that we have to do is, in this bowl here I have some milk. Now the milk, if we brush this onto our pastry, it's like painting a picture all over. Don't leave any gaps, just make sure it's completely covered in the milk, because the first thing that this will do is this will help the cheese stick that we are just about to put all over it, and secondly it gives it the most lovely shine and they look so delicious and tempting to eat. So this is our first stage, and you know what, I don't think I've missed any of the pastry. Next that we're going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some of this lovely grated cheddar cheese all over the top. Okay, nice and even all over. Spread it over with your hands. Because our hands are clean, we've washed them. We haven't touched anything that isn't very nice. And always remember, if you're going to cough into your hands or anything, always remember, go and wash your hands afterwards, because we don't want any germs all over our lovely cheese straws. Next, all I'm going to do is gently roll over the rolling pin over the cheese. Now, some of it may stick to the rolling pin. It's not a problem because it's us cooking. And sometimes it's nice to have it a little bit different. The next job we're going to do is we need to cut them into long strips, and then we're going to do something a little magical with them and give them a twist so they're really interesting. So what I've prepared already is we have some baking trays here, and I've put some greaseproof paper on it. The reason I've done that is so it doesn't stick. If you don't have greaseproof paper at home, it really doesn't matter. Just a lighter oil over the top and that will stop them from sticking. So that is a really good tip to have. So I'm going to use one of my safety knives because we're always thinking of our safety. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut now our pastry into strips. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut a nice even strip. Do you know what? If you don't want long strips, you don't have to. They're yours. They're your cheese straws, and this is the nice part about cooking. Right. So then I've cut this one, but oh, that's a bit large, and I don't want that large one. So all I'm going to do is cut it in half, put my knife down, and this is where the good part comes. And just give it a lovely twist, and then lay it on the greaseproof paper, and it will make a lovely cheese straw shape. Now what I'm going to do is, which I didn't tell you beforehand, and I am sorry, we have preheated the oven so it's nice and warm to 180. Also, they need to be cooked for 10 to 15 minutes. So make sure you get your grown-up to check them after 10 minutes, because we really don't want them to burn because they won't taste very nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you for a while now, and what I'm going to do is finish this off, and then we're going to cook them, and then we're going to come back when they are all cooked. Right, our timer's just gone off, and I'm up at the oven just to check our cheese straws. They smell delicious. Oh, I wish you could smell this because it is lovely. But if you have a go at making your own, oh, you will have the same experiences. Right, now, this is the part where you will need a grown-up to help you. As you can see, it is really hot, but I've got my oven gloves on, so which will protect my hands from the heat. I'm just going to show you what they look like. They look lovely, don't they? So, what I want you to do is have a go, enjoy them, and I shall speak to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.